welcome to TruthQuest Today. We're so glad you could be with us today. Hey, today is a pre-recorded broadcast just due to some scheduling things, but we're glad you're with us, and whenever you watch this, we just want to say hello. We're glad you're here. And Becky, hi Becky.
Hi, Doc.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. So,
Good.
I was looking up the next commandment, and there's this word, I don't know what it means. Adultery?
Say it again.
Adultery.
Adultery. An adult tree?
Yeah, does that mean that's what I'm wondering. Why are we not supposed to have adult trees?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, as you might remember, we've been going over the 10 Commandments, right?
Uh-huh.
And so we learned that we should have no other gods.
Uh-huh.
We should not make or worship idols.
Uh-huh.
We should not take the Lord's name in vain,
Uh-huh.
right? We should remember the Sabbath and keep it holy.
Uh-huh.
We should honor our parents.
Uh-huh.
We should not murder.
Uh-huh. And that means to be careful with our thoughts and attitudes towards people.
That's right. We shouldn't even think evil thoughts toward other people.
Uh-huh.
And then today, the 7th commandment, da-da-da-da, there it is. And the 7th commandment says,
Adultery.
You shall not commit adultery.
So does that mean I'm not supposed to cut down adult trees?
Or you should only have baby trees and no
Yeah,
adult trees.
But you can't keep baby trees. They're gonna grow up. So why does God say not to have adult trees?
Well, Becky, it's not adult trees that God is concerned about.
Oh.
That's right. Adultery actually is a word that means being unfaithful. Being unfaithful. So like when a husband and a wife are married, he's just saying here, stay married, stay faithful to each other. Does that make sense? It has nothing to do with adult trees.
Oh, so I don't need to go get my chainsaw and cut down the tree in my yard?
No. Please do not cut down any trees.
Oh, okay.
Yes, but the
I'm
7th...
so glad I did. I'm glad I checked with you because I was about ready to go through and cut down all the trees.
Oh my goodness, that would have been a mess if Becky had gone and cut down all the adult trees. I know. Thank you for not doing that, Becky. It's good if you don't know something, know what the Bible means about something to ask somebody, okay?
Okay.
Instead of cutting down all of the adult trees. No, adultery is just a fancy word which basically means unfaithfulness. We should not be unfaithful. A husband should not be unfaithful to his wife, and a wife should not be unfaithful to her husband. But there's even more to it than that, Becky.
Okay. I mean, because, how am I supposed to obey that? I'm not married.
That's right. You're not, are you?
No.
Okay.
And I don't plan on being married for a long time because boys are yucky.
I can't disagree with that. Okay. All right. Just kidding, boys. Just kidding, boys. I have daughters, so, Anyway.
Except for you, Doc. You're not yucky.
Oh, thank you, Becky. That's very nice of you. All right. So, what does this commandment mean? How can a young person like you obey this commandment to not be unfaithful? How about we should not be unfaithful to God?
Oh!
You see? Because Jesus again said in the New Testament, as he did with murder, that if you even think thoughts that are not faithful to your husband or your wife, it's the same thing as committing adultery. It's the same thing as being unfaithful. And we can be unfaithful to God the same way.
I'm starting to get a point here that God is more concerned about our hearts and what's in them than just our actions. I mean, because if you think about it, we're not supposed to have any other gods, which means I don't worship in my heart any other gods.
That's
I'm
right.
supposed to honor God in his name, and that means I'm not supposed to think the bad words in my head, and then also that I'm supposed to keep the Sabbath day holy, but that means I'm supposed to think about God and worship him in my heart. And then there's also honoring my father and my mother, and I can obey my parents without honoring them in my thoughts. So once again, it's about the heart. And then yesterday, it was about being careful about my thoughts about others because I could commit murder in my heart if I have hate in my heart. And today, I'm supposed to be faithful in my heart and in my thoughts towards God and towards others.
Wow, Becky. Good job. I could not have taught that better myself. High five.
Yay!
Yay. That's right. Kids, the 10 Commandments are all, as Becky said, about our hearts. They all talk about what we do, but everything we do comes from our heart. And so the 10 commandments are about where our hearts should be. And the 7th commandment is an example of that. We need to be faithful to God in our hearts. And yes, if we're married, faithful to our husband or our wife in our heart. But we need to be faithful because God is faithful. And that's why it says all the way in the book of Revelation 14:12.
Wow, we're going a long way.
I know. It says this calls for patient endurance on the part of the people of God who keep his commands and remain what?
Faithful.
Faithful to Jesus. We, the people of God, should be faithful to God, faithful to Jesus, faithful to husbands and wives, faithful to each other. We should be faithful. If we obey the 7th commandment to not commit adultery, it means we'll be faithful.
Okay, you know what? I just had a thought.
What?
I think I know what faithful means, but what does it exactly mean?
Trustworthy and true and keeping promises.
Oh, like being a really good friend and not stopping being a friend just because I don't like something.
That's right. You're reliable. People can count on you. They know you're going to do the right thing. That's faithful.
Ah!
God is faithful. We should be faithful. And
So
that's
we are supposed to be faithful to Jesus, to always be his friend, and always do what he wants us to do, and not turn our backs on him.
And that is right. That is right, Becky. And that is how we, even kids, can keep the 7th commandment, even though we're not married. Okay, guys?
Okay!
Well, we'll continue this next week with the 10 commandments, but I am so glad you've been learning so well what all these
I'm kind
commandments
of curious what the heart attitude will be for the next 3, because there's like number 8, and number 9, and number 10. I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Well, we will get back to that next week. In the meantime, we hope you have a great weekend. We hope to see you at church on Sunday, 10 a.m. Come on in. We're open with kids ministries and everything. We hope to see you then. But until then, have a great afternoon and be faithful.
Yay!
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.